Another one that we get told, and we got it from someone on the floor, we need immigrants because they're going to pay our pensions. Ladies and gentlemen, whoever the gentleman is, let me tell you something, a shocking fact. Immigrants get old as well. Only 44.9% of London residents now tick the box saying that they are white British, and nearly 3 million people in England and Wales now live in households where not one adult speaks English as their main language. 23 of London's 33 London boroughs, in 23 of those 33 London boroughs, people who identify themselves as white Britons are now in a minority. A spokesman, by the way, for the Office of National Statistics hailed that as diversity, but I can assure you that some of those boroughs are not diverse at all. On the matter of the rate of immigration, let's just clear up something. Nobody on my side, I certainly am not against immigration, and that is not what the motion is about. And you can reinvent it however much you want, but that's not what it's about. It's that there has been too much. And I would say, like I think other speakers have already said, that too much did not happen in the 50s, or the 60s, or the 70s, or the 80s. It happened under the Labour government in the 1990s and the early 2000s. There is a motif that this country has always been a nation of immigrants. That is not true. It is not true. For most of this country's history, there was a very homogenous group of people on these islands. And the idea that what is happening now is what has always happened is simply a fib, and you have to look to this. The Huguenots are always given as an example, a very good example, and a group that 50,000 Huguenots came to this country in the period of the 1680s onwards. Now, 50,000 Huguenots over the period of years was equal to about 2 months of immigration in the 1990s. 50,000 was about 2 months. The Ugandan Asians expelled by Idi Amin, which this country, I think, rightly took in, numbered 30,000 people. 30,000 people by the late 1990s was 6 weeks of immigration. So my point to you, first of all, is that the speed and the rate matters, and it matters for a reason which I am going to come back to in a moment. But first, let me mention some of the arguments that have come up which do need answering about this. The first is the inevitable argument that the reason why we need mass immigration and have needed it is because there are jobs that British people will not do, and we need to import people to do those jobs. Let me say to you as frankly as it is possible to say, that is one of the most racist arguments you can hear. It suggests that there are jobs which British people not only don't want to do, but shouldn't do, don't have to do. We don't have to even encourage them to do. Please, you've had your go. We don't even need to encourage them to do. But we will go around the rest of the world and hoover up people who are willing to work for nothing because it provides us with cheap nannies and cheap waiters in restaurants and so on. I think it's a lamentable argument. The second argument you can hear, and we had it already tonight, is the argument about the hoovering up, as I would put it, of the other end, as it were, of the economic spectrum, that it is the best idea possible that we will travel around the world and hoover up nurses and doctors in Africa and across other regions of the world, that we can take people from the third world who the third world has superbly educated and make sure that they benefit us. Again, I think a lamentable argument. Look, the argument on immigration often comes down to net benefits. Is it an economic net benefit or an economic problem? You can, incidentally, on the material in this, find pretty much a 50-50 divide. About 50% of the studies say that there's a huge impact positively for the country. About the other 50% say the opposite. And by the way, that even goes, Lord Singh, to the study you cited. You cited the UCL study. That same study found that between 1995 and 2011, migrants in the UK received £95 billion more in services and benefits than they contributed in taxes. That's the same study that you cited. Another one that we get told, and we got it from someone on the floor, we need immigrants because they're going to pay our pensions. Ladies and gentlemen, whoever the gentleman is, let me tell you something, a shocking fact. Immigrants get old as well. An amazing fact. Which means that if you have that model, Every single year, you need to import more and more immigrants because you need to support that. It's known as the pyramid or migration model, and it doesn't work either.